Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist,
I'm Adam.
and we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have... Sorry, it's like...
I broke you, I know.
It threw me off when you actually did the, like a gravelly cultist voice. But yeah, we are covering New Year, new situation here. We are covering the Fayette Mall incident. Yeah,
That we are. And since you're hearing me on Authentic Rigor Mortis, then that probably means there's some hillbilly-ish kind of stuff or Kentucky stuff going in. As being the resident hillbilly among the circulating cast members of Authentic Rigor Mortis, I have been recruited, press gagged.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, this one, the Fayette Mall incident, like you brought it up a while back to me, and I had seen it occasionally on my YouTube feed. But it's by Stygian Sagas, who you may remember from a previous story or a previous episode, which Adam was also a part of, which was the fog that fell over Moorhead. So,
Yeah.
This is yet another creepypasta from a certain little stretch of Kentucky.
Yeah. So this Moorhead is just kind of on the foothills of eastern Kentucky, kind of like I am, and Lexington is when you start going more centralized to the state. So it's one of the, I guess you could say, like three big cities that are in the state of Kentucky here. And yeah, if I see anything Kentucky, I'll click on it because that's me.
It's like if anything, like Ontario, I have to know if there's what. I have to know what other Ontarians are, or what other people are doing with creepypastas set in Ontario. So, although I've been learning over the years that like all roads lead to Kentucky, because like it seems I can't like throw a stone somewhere without somebody being from Kentucky or having an affiliation with Kentucky.
Well,
I don't know if that's just the like reality algorithm like listening in.
Well, I'm happy to be the representative. If any of you in the Kentucky legislature would like to nominate me to be a Kentucky colonel, that would be great. It's an honorary title. That's how Colonel Sanders got his name, by the way. Review cultist. He was not a military man. But if you would like to nominate me, please get in touch with at authenticmortis at gmail.com and have him connect you to me.
Yes. But yeah, so also just a question. So Lexington, Louisville, and then what's the third like big city in Kentucky?
I'd say like when you get around like Bowling Green, that would be one of the big ones. Yeah, and then you got like smaller ones like you've been through Ashland and Moorhead, Winchester, but those are kind of the three big ones there. And Lexington is, I mean, you'd think it'd be where the capital is, but it's not. That's Frankfort. But Lexington is a place that I've like. It was when I was growing up, man. It was a special trip. Of course, I was born in 1980, so from the late 80s, maybe about the time I was 16 or something like that. My grandmother would always take me to Lexington to go shopping because we just, that's back when there was like Walmart was a big deal when it came out and all that. So Lexington has always been something that if you lived out where I live, you had to go out. I mean, you had to drive 40 or 50 minutes to get to the city. And then there's all these new fancy restaurants and stuff like that. And the Fayette Mall is a place that, is in a lot of my childhood that going back to from like going to arcades. They were amazing back in the day. They're like Aladdin's Castle, I think was the arcade that they used to have there, the food court, being a teenager going up there and wandering around and hoping to see girls. Never had luck, but I did have a bird fly into me one time. It's a unique story. I'll tell you later. But yeah, so, and actually I was up near Fayette Mall like 3 weeks ago. So.
Oh. And I know, and I'm kind of sad that like last 2 times I've gone down to hang out with you, like we have not gone to Fayette Mall, so we're gonna
We'll
have to make
fix it.
that a yeah.
Yeah, we'll fix it. And I want to give a quick shout out to our boy here, Stygian Sagas, who has a YouTube channel and a Libsyn podcast account that has written this. Thanks for representing the area, and look forward to seeing more of your Eastern Kentucky centric kind of strange fiction.
First one that we did was like a real banger, especially since like how close to home it was for you, and then like how familiar it was. It was actually familiar for me because I've been to Moorhead more than once now. So, and then yeah, like this one I get like it's also a mall scene. Like I have a fondness for mall core, and like the mall kind of scene from like my time as a kid in like the 90s and such.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's something it's familial and you can relate to it, and then when you add horror to that, it just works even better because like you have that groundedness to like offset the alien.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we are kind of getting ahead of ourselves. So I guess we'll start with a rundown. This story, as we kind of mentioned, so Stygian Sagas. They never. It doesn't seem like they've released a typed version or like a written version of the story anywhere. Maybe it's behind like a paywall on their Patreon, so you could check that out there. But Stygian Sagas has made a reading of the story, which is what we listened to, and it's on their YouTube channel or even on Stygian Saga's Libsyn website. So as we mentioned before,
yeah.
And yeah, so the rundown. So narrator, as we never get the name of the narrator, is explaining the events in May 2016 when they were invited to Fayette Mall in Lexington, Kentucky, to grab a bite to eat and catch up with a friend named Thomas. They had previously just done some tabletop gaming, which Nair didn't care for too much, but was enduring for Thomas since it had been about a year since they had really hung out and talked. While eating their mediocre mall food and chatting, something very strange occurred. A creeping yet sudden darkness consumed the inside of a gimmicky jewelry store called Castle Jewelers. And as the regular lights failed in the rest of the mall, people grabbed phone lights and looked on in stunned horror and wonder as to what the situation was happening. That's when shadow sliver entities appeared and began skulking over to and consuming freaked out witnesses. Just as the survivors were trying to flee from these things, there was a great rumbling occurring, and the darkness within the Castle Jewelers imploded in on itself, taking part of the mall and the shadow entities with it. Authorities arrived and seemed to try and cover up everything really quickly, confiscating phones for video and photo evidence, and survivors were threatened if they publicly talked about the events. There was also some farther reaching kind of incidences apparently that night where like various like cattle and horses in like the surrounding area were like in the surrounding like rural parts were like just kind of mysteriously dying. But aside from that, many of the survivors over the years died either from self-inflicted injuries or under strange circumstances, which was the case for Thomas. Nair then leaves off with the dread suggestion that because this had no rhyme or reason, this incident could happen again, anywhere or anytime.
Yeah, and I mean, you kind of glossed over the other like the outside parts, which is totally fine. I really enjoyed it, of course, being familiar with the region. So there's nothing special about like May 26th. And I think that's one of the nice underlying things that is mentioned. Like it's a date. That's all it was. And as far as like the other strange occurrences that happened during this time, as you mentioned, it was really more horse because that's horse country. That is where a lot of big thoroughbreds and lineages of famous racing horses are. It's pretty much the bread and butter between like Fayette County and Bourbon County, which is where Bourbon's from, Chris. But
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
just say it.
Yeah, I mean,
But
like on my, like on when the first time I came to visit you guys, like we had like a trip down, and you kind of like showed me, like that side of Kentucky a bit, like as we were driving through, like you kind of you like gave me almost like a little bit of a tour of it, like or like a sort of like an intro into like what like why there were so many like horse ranches or horse farms and like because of the racing horse. And now that I think about the Kentucky Derby and stuff like that, yeah, makes sense.
and there are a lot of big money things here, and I think I don't know. There's this weird, like, kind of juxtaposition that goes on here. So, like, the other strange occurrences, and we'll go back to the mall.
Mhm.
Just there was like power blackouts, and then it would spike back on. It was inconsistent, and it mentions like uh, different areas like the Belmont and Harris Hill and Robin Wood and Monticello, and those are all actual places in Fayette County. So the electric would go on and go off, and when it went on in one place, it would go off in another, and they couldn't figure out no rhyme or reason. In kind of a Nope, which I was a fan of that film kind of moment, there's this weird sky phenomenon that also occurs
Yeah.
where it looks like ring-shaped cloud formations would just convalesce west of Kentucky. So I'm trying to think of which part or counties that would be over the horse pastures and rolling hills, and then just dissipate into vapor. So, like, I'm thinking big space donuts, really. Um, then the horse death. So we mentioned that's race horses and stuff like that. This is a nice little. All right, so the story. I think 4 people, or maybe 6. I'd have to double check the notes. Disappear in the mall. Do you remember how many there were?
I don't know. There it was it. I know like there was a couple of people, and then like people there, but like the event then like just as suddenly as it appeared, it sort of well it went like singularity and just kind of imploded in on itself. So
Yeah.
suddenly it was over. But like yeah, it seemed like they started grabbing people, and then people were kind of making a mad dash to leave. So I don't
Yeah.
remember an actual number.
I think it was. I can look through it and find it here. I think, but it mentions that like a dozen healthy stallions and mares dropped dead, and many of these horses were because of the lineages are from like they're worth their weight in gold.
Yeah,
And at the end of all this and everything that's strange, the main thing that was focused on, and be that because of a cover up or the mundane, or like people are focusing on the mundane or the capitalistic kind of perspective here, is that, oh my God, Seabiscuit's great great grandson died. But the cool thing they mention about it is when the horses start dropping dead, and if they were in like stalls and stuff, dropping dead, the other horses would just go completely buck wild and destroy the place to run out of the barn and get
yeah,
away from their dying kin, which was
they were just shirking away as
yeah,
violently as possible. Yeah.
that was super cool.
I wonder if because maybe it's like it was like they were dying because of like an air pressure thing or like because like there was like some kind of a subliminal noise that like because I know horses have like an insane hearing, like it's very keen hearing, so it would be interesting that like it was sort of like the canary situation, like canary in the coal mine, like they were because the how sensitive they were, like they were just dropping.
And this is, I was actually going to share this a little bit later on, but you brought
Yeah.
it up.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It naturally flows in with it. So, and I think this is kind of, I like to use the word juxtapose because I have an English degree and I don't get to use it in my day to day life usually. But if you contrast these horses that sense shit's going wrong, and like they're not trying to get free. In fact, they break out of the barn and run out in the field and like basically get down in a fetal, scared position. They're not trying to get out; they're just trying to get away. And then
Yeah.
you have this stuff happening in the mall, and you have these people that. When things started, there's like an uneasy feel in the mall, and I'll probably go ahead and turn everything back over to you on this because I'm talking way too much. But it mentions that before things happened in the food court, there was like an uneasy sense
Yeah.
that was going around everywhere. And some people were vacating for reasons that they really didn't know. I think, you've got this. primal and then this civilized kind of thing. Like people like, we know we're scared. There's something wrong here. I'm gonna pull out my phone. Kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of brought up when I was doing the rundown. I mentioned it was a creeping yet sudden like occurrence, because that's kind of what it was. Like there was like this creeping, eerie feeling, like there's something something was happening, rapidly but like subtly at first. And that like, hey, and people were picking up bad moods and then, or like bad vibes, and then they were like leaving. And then all of a sudden, like the event happened. So
I got your numbers here. Two different sets of numbers. He was the author throwing around here. The author said that there were, in the aftermath of this, and when they pinned it on like a food riot, there were 6 arrests that were made. But there were 5 people who never emerged from the Fayette Mall. And
so like whether those were the ones that were eaten by the things, or like they were like brought into the things like body or their core, like a black hole kind of thing, or if they were the ones that were in the jewelers, the jewelry store, because like those people apparently like it was just like it happened so fast, like suddenly the entire space of the jewelry store was just like consumed by darkness. And Thomas recollects that like maybe he might have heard like sudden screams or like like some kind of screaming, but like it was cut short or something.
Millions of screams all at once.
Yeah, exactly. It was suddenly silenced.
the author, and I mean seriously, I think this guy's got some chops here. He even did. I was listening to this driving around today before we came back, and what sticks with me is that he mentions that when he talked about the 6 people that were arrested and the 5 that never came back, and he mentions this really poignant image of there was just empty cars. Their empty cars remained in the parking lot while their families were trying to figure out what happened to them, kind of stuff like that. So, I mean, you've got that and this genuine heartache and this thing, like the testament that they were at least there and now they're not. And then we talk about how much those horses were worth.
Yeah. Well, because again, like it's going like, and I do remember like even like with the horse thing, like the rich ranchers or the rich like the horse owners had to basically just eat that loss. Like it was mentioned like that again, because like that again, capitalist systems, like those poor billionaires or those poor millionaires. But yeah, it's very much like kind of how like a natural disaster is sort of treated, and we kind of got like different angles of that in this, like from the people that are on site and the victims of the disaster or like their loved ones, and then there's the other people that were like it's like kind of not as affected, but like affected in some way, but like how overreacted that is. But this is all we're just kind of blending right into actual thoughts at this point. So
all right.
But yeah, I guess yeah, so we'll just seamlessly transition into actual thoughts here, since we're kind of going into that already. So you were actually bringing up with both the how the event happened, like in like 2016, and like how there was nothing really there of event, but also like how the author like kind of treated that the police like were responding to what they assumed was like a teen delinquency, or like some kind of they arrested like five people. And honestly, like when I first started reading this, and after like when I had seen it on my YouTube feed, I honestly thought that this was like I thought the video was actually not even a creepypasta, but I thought it was like a video thesis or video essay on the Florida Mall incident that happened in 2024. Where, and I don't know if you caught that, but like back, I think it was January 2024. Or it might have been in July. It was one of the J's. But yeah, in Florida in 2024, there was a mall incident where like a bunch of an obscene amount of police cars arrived at on scene to a mall to deal with a teen disturbance, I guess like a bunch of teen delinquencies or something like that. And there was like a bit of a riot or like a mob of people like leaving the mall and stuff like that. And again, there was just like this. If you looked at the footage of it, it's like there was this like ridiculous response from the Florida police showing up to this mall. And there was even like later people were swearing that they saw like a giant alien in like some of the video feeds, like escaping the mall, like these tall, I guess like there was like some kind of like video artifacting or something like that, where like people thought they were seeing like some tall, like humanoids leaving the mall as well. And that's what people were, there's a conspiracy basically that like that's what the police were really there for. They were responding to this alien invasion or this alien incursion. And so it just like, I know this story came out in 2025. So I was curious if like the author was inspired in some way by those events, or if this is just happy coincidence.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And then like again, like now that I've seen this, like again, like now that this has happened in the Fayette Mall, like in this story, I need to visit Fayette Mall at some point, just so I can like continue my dream of visiting real life locations where creepypastas happened.
we can pick up some jelly bellies there. I like them.
Yeah. But
it's all good. Yeah. So I honestly, kind of going back to what you were saying there, if this wasn't inspired by that Florida event, I would be surprised.
Yeah, it would be like such an interesting like was it real like reality imitating life, or life imitating art, or art imitating life sort of situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like big things taking the real places too. So it's kind of my appearance there. By the way, the Castle Jar is a real thing.
Oh, so Castle. I was curious about that because like it the way it's like it was taken out in 2016. I was like, it's like because like sometimes like when I'm doing writing, like I will use a real location, but then I will like change. I won't actually like destroy a real location, I'll make up a business that something happens, but like I'll put it in a place that's real. So I was wondering if that was actually the situation here, if this was like this was all like it's like this was the mall's real and like the like all that kind of stuff, but then the store that was being used, like the store that was affected, was a fictional thing. So that's interesting that it was used as a real place was actually used for the story.
Yeah, I even sent you their webpage.
Nice.
And actually, you were near. There used to be a castle that Kroger I took you to. There used to be a castle next door to it. It just closed down.
Okay.
But side notes. But
yeah, interesting.
But yeah, I definitely see the connection, as you were mentioning beforehand. Let's see. What else do I feel from on that? I got confused at one point. I noticed it in quite grammar inquisition, because grammar. We can't really grammar inquisit the video, but I think that they called them. Maybe I misheard it and all that, but I thought that Thomas was also called Wes at one point.
I don't recall that, but
it was it was right around the section where they were sitting at the food court, and he was complaining about a course load, and then in a nice romantic appeal, the narrator's like, "Well, you just need to get yourself out of this out of the plastic, and go back to the country, and you go hiking and stuff like that with us and all." But I think there was. You may want to listen for it, but I think Thomas was called Wes at one point in time. So
okay. Yeah, I mean that kind of typos, like they're.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time.
As much as we like go like ham with like the grammar inquisition, sometimes like honestly, like that's a simple mistake if that's there.
Can I pick on you about the monster because you love monsters? I want you to tell me. Like,
Okay, well, we'll go to my entity section for my notes. So yeah, I found the creatures, these like shadow slivers, as I'm calling them. They were delightfully abstract and alien. Like just these, again, these sticks or slivers of like deep black shadow that they have stretched they can stretch out like in like or form malleable limbs to grab people and pull them in, almost like the way they were describing like people, like how they were consuming people. It was almost like they were like living black holes, like they were just like sending them into themselves, and the people were just getting like sucked in like a vacuum. And even like them in the darkness, like even the darkness itself was like some kind of, it felt like it was some kind of a thing, or it could be just like it was like a rift or breach in reality, or it was actually like kind of another entity in and of itself, that was occupying the space of the jewelers. And then when they started like walking over to, like when they started crawling or walking over to some other victims, and it describes them as like they split their like they split out into limbs for mobility. It kind of reminded me, like gave me the description of like the Fresno crawlers. Are you familiar with that cryptid?
I cannot tell you that I am.
It's basically just this, like, as far as like it's surveillance footage from like someplace in Fresno of like a head and like a really short body maybe, and just like really long thin limbs just walking across somebody's lawn at night. And it's kind of what I got from this was just like these like stick leg sort of things where it's like mostly leg, and then it's just like this slender form walking toward people and then like grabbing them with their extendo limbs. Yeah, like it's very alien the way they're described, and I like how abstract they are.
He had a beautiful line here that it sticks out to me when he was talking about the creatures. He said they were, single dark kind of like stick figure kind of thing. He said it was two-dimensional. It was like a two-dimensional paint stroke made on a 3D canvas. So, I mean, it just, how the fuck does that look? It's just like this thing that you can't kind of put together. This is the impression you're getting, but like they're nonsensical.
And it's like a cartoon character being in 3D, like being in like it's like I guess it could almost be like it's the horror, and it's like the horror view of like something like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, like seeing what is usually a 2D character in a 3D environment, like for real, would be kind of horrifying. It also, again, like the way that's described, like where it's like they're like weird like silhouetted stick figure things. I've actually, like, in the last few years, I've seen videos about reports or sightings supposedly of people coming across like stick figures, like literal, like almost literal stick figure entities that were stalking them.
Creepers from Minecraft.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, seriously, this is the Minecraft. Like, they've opened the world.
Not
Creepers, Creepers, Enderman. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like or like Enderman, or like was it that stick figure fighter animations? Yeah.
We just need Jason Momoa and Jack Black come here and take care of this shit for us.
Yeah.
But they also, like, they were faceless, yet you could feel unspoken malice. So I like that. The movement, like, they were boneless.
Yeah, they're probably just like almost like arm waving inflatable tube men, kind of like they're kind of like just like walking in like a weird kind of like, again, like boneless fashion.
And then they had masks to them though. Like that one woman, it grabbed a hold of her, and then you just hear ribs.
Yeah, that was so good.
That's brutal.
Yeah. It's so because it's not loud, but it's so I think I have it in my notes like deafeningly subtle, because like there was no noise from like any of the electronics in the place. The only noise the viewers or the witnesses had were of like their breathing, and then they just heard this like deafeningly quiet popping sound from her as her like ribs were were broken, and like the air in her lungs was like exhaled like forcibly from like this constriction. It was so well done. I loved that scene because it was so like horrific and like dark.
And then it was just like, didn't he say it like after they took a victim out, it was just like it was running the search program again to find the other one, like it would wheel and whirl or something like that.
Yeah, it was like it would consume one, and then it was like look around for another one. Yeah.
So, yep. Yeah. I apologize for wanting to talk about the monster, but I wanted to talk about the monster.
Honestly, again, we'll just because we were talking about like the description of that monster sequence. I'll dive into my my writing style comments here.
Right, go right ahead.
Which honestly, very Lovecraftian. Like much like the fall of or the fog that fell over Moorhead, it has that very Lovecraftian vibe. It's like semi first person narrator mixed with like epistolarian writing, just like with like and the way what I mean by that is like it's to me when I was reading it was like very like the narrator starts off like giving us a bunch of details like collected about the events, and then actually goes into his firsthand accounts of what happened that day. And it felt very much like the Dunwich Horror or Color Out of Space or even the Shadow over Innsmouth. Like the type of writing where like the narrator is submitting a collection of notes and situate content about like or context about the situation before giving the firsthand account on the situation,
and also sets themselves up as a slightly unreliable narrator, like a lot of Poe and definitely Lovecraft protagonists. I'm thinking of like the Dagon story where the man survived this whole ordeal and he's back at the hotel kind of like using opiates to like take that memory from his head and stuff like that. And this man here, while I don't remember there being any mention of like drug addiction, all that, he has mentioned that he has thought about it and he thought about it so much and dwelled on it. And he doesn't know what was real and what he's made up. And then there's this whole plausible deniability that was given by the reporters, and no one's reported on it. And the police won't say anything. And even his friend would barely mention it to him in passing and stuff like that. It's just, it doesn't put our narrator on the sturdiest of ground.
Yeah, and like I think with this story, it's more of like, he's a conspiracy theorist at this point, or like he's being gaslit by some authority to keep this under wraps. And so like he's dealing with trauma of the situation of being like a survivor of this event. So like that's going to skew your perspective on things, no matter how clear-headed you try to be.
There's no support group for his trauma.
Exactly. And because the people that he has found are like they've either killed themselves or they've met terrible ends, or they're afraid to talk out or speak out because they've been threatened. So it's very much like unreliable narrator, but like it's also like we have this like collated information about the event as well that's been given. So another thing I liked about this story like a lot was how the narrator describes the familiar and makes it both like makes it banal but with a touch of the sinister. Like we kind of mentioned off recording like how he like how he dismally describes like the mundanity of like malls and like getting together with some college friends and like doing tabletop games, and like it's very very kind of depressive or like or kind of like just kind of dismal, but also there's like a sinisterness to it, like that's kind of blended in with the banal like groundedness of like the setting, like the situation's weirdness is blended so well with the groundedness of the setting.
There's condensation, not condensation. Yeah, there's water dripping off everywhere.
Yeah, it's dripping on my head. like every friggin' place I went to in Kentucky.
It's Kentucky. It's moist. That's not going to appear out on
Oh
a
no!
shirt.
Oh no!
um, but
But yeah,
yeah,
like yeah,
you mentioned it. Like, and was pick at this just a hair. He gets drug into what I can assume is a D&D game,
yeah. That's what I
and
figured.
like kicking and screaming, just because he wants to hang out with his friend. Okay, then he didn't enjoy the people, which I mean, dude,
Hey,
trust me.
honestly, yeah, like we've gone to cons. Sometimes there are
Yeah,
those people.
That's why I think it's D&D. Because if I'm going to sit there while you're wondering about how many fucking arrows you can carry, or like we're going to pick up every rock in the cave to look if there's loot under it. Like I mean, dude,
You've had
that's
that experience with our Mass Effect game.
yeah. I mean, that's when I go outside and smoke. Like, all right, you guys just knock on the door when we're ready, and I'll come back in. And like, I would rather go out here and kill myself slowly. But and then they go to the mall.
Yeah.
And he mentions, and I can't remember the brand of pizza, but I think
Oh,
yeah, it's
Suboro or Saboros.
yeah. And then his meal was a slightly passable Thai rice or something like
I mean,
that. It's just like he can't even enjoy shit food.
to be fair, again, mall food is not that great. I mean, I love mall food, and but like I admit, like I'm also a trash goblin when it comes to food. So when
Look,
it comes to my tastes, I love
but
Malort for God's sakes.
you got to know what you're stepping into. I mean, it's like if
Yeah.
you go into McDonald's, you're like, man, this place is shit. Like, yeah, it's McDonald's. Like, what
I,
we're
I will say this narrator is very much that like that meme from like the D&D movie. It's like, you're
Mhm.
not a lot of fun, are you?
Yeah.
Like very much like just what's the word? Not disingenuous, like disenfranchised, I guess, of the
Yeah.
from of the world. Like just this narrator, even before the events of like the traumatizing events of the incident, like he was just like the way he the way he looks at the world is very like just muted and skeptical and like um yeah, I guess disenfranchised, I guess, is the word of the day.
I would argue that this is probably not true. I would argue that possibly he had a completely different experience in real
Oh,
life,
yeah.
and it's all just being colored. Like he's already,
You know, that's true. Yeah.
and I like that aspect of it. That's what I
Yeah.
kind of like to see. Like, I mean, he's got survivor guilt
Yeah.
from all this stuff here. His friend, that does, as it mentions later on, Thomas passes away. It never really went into details, though he
Yeah.
feels that it was something that was some way related to this, either directly or indirectly. But
Yeah.
uh, I think it's just a bunch of what ifs.
Yeah, I do.
What?
Yeah, I definitely think like yeah, he might have had a better coloring of the like perspective of the world before, and then
Hmm.
now that he's because this is all like afterthought. Like this story is being written after the fact, so
Yeah,
his trauma is probably bleeding into his filter a
yeah.
little bit. Yeah, I prefer that. I think.
Hmm.
Otherwise, like yeah, this man's just like
Killjoy.
dismal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um, and then we get to the actual incident here. Um, and again, this is gonna be like very positive for me. Like the story, like if it hasn't been projected enough. Like I
Hmm.
love the creeping suddenness of the event. Like we were saying, like people were getting like bad vibes and like kind of like some people were just like bowing out of the mall before the incident even happened, and then there's like almost like the hairs on your arm were like going up right before the sudden like the storefront was suddenly just like Fanta black, like or it was Vanta black. It was like blacker than
Hmm.
black, kind of dark. I do remember him saying it's like it was like the deepest Stygian. I was like, he said the word.
Hmm. We have a title.
Yeah. Also, I did notice that I know this is like obviously just a coincidence thing, but like when he said there's some quote in the story where he's like and the stranger thing. I was like, this is
Uh,
it is kind of similar to like the plot of Stranger or the lore of Stranger Thing with like the upside down and stuff, like these things just crossing in from another reality. But um
I hope it wasn't a possessive stranger.
yeah. Oh no.
It's a stranger's thing. Oh no, get that
Oh,
though.
oh god.
Sorry, dirty
Um,
joke.
That's fine. But yeah, so like uh yeah, also when so the darkness like happening at the jewelry store, and like as far as we're aware, and as far as the story is projecting, like this had no rhyme or reason. Like there was no real, like there was, like it just happened, and like the survivors have to deal with the consequences. But like someone at that Castle Jewelers unleashed something from a cursed item mistakenly put on display, right? Like
Something
like
sealed in a diamond.
exactly, like something in some, like in some piece of jewelry that was like not supposed to go out for sale, got like looked at by a customer, and like they rubbed it like a couple one too many times, like to get the sheen, and accidentally summoned that interdimensional genie. Like that's kind of like, because it happens at this jewelry store, and if I know my mythos, you don't deal with jewelry in in a Cthulhu scenario.
Think that they organized a bunch of green blocks in a square circle, and they dropped the Enderman eyes and all the
Yeah,
things.
exactly. Yeah,
I swear,
yeah.
God, like
Oh my god, just an ender pearl. They just,
yeah,
oh my god, yeah.
this,
Honestly, that, yeah.
Stygian, if you find this, hi, by the way, I love your work,
Hi. Yeah.
but could you respond to me by aldenterigamortis@gmail.com and tell me if like you could tell me if it was Minecraft inspired, man.
Is hey, I'm not even gonna be mad. We need more like Minecraft horror. Like all we got
Mm-hmm,
is a bunch of like Minecraft ARGs,
mm-hmm,
like that King in Yellow one that, from like Halloween, and
yeah.
Hero Brian. So, and I'm sure there's actually more than that, but like, and if you're out there and you're listening to us, like other people, and you know some good Minecraft horror, by all means, send it my way. um Minecraft is spooky when you're playing that game sometimes.
It
But
can be.
joking aside about this, like between Enderman pearls being sold on this at this Castle
Castle
Jewelers,
Jeweler.
the Castle Jewelers, I do love I love the helplessness of the horror here too, because it's like the fact that there was no rhyme or reason as far as anyone can tell. It just occurred is a very real type of horror, and worry. It's just like, and like the worry of that in a mundane disaster, let alone a supernatural one. So like just like for something to just happen like that, that's welcome to every like disaster, like natural disaster in human history. Like, oh, has no rhyme or reason. It's just going to happen. You have to react to it. And that's horror. Like a lot of when disaster movies like treat that with like that kind of horror, like that's where you get like a really good level of grounded horror in a disaster piece of fiction. Because it, yeah, like storms, like floods and storms and earthquakes, and they have no rhyme or reason. They just
Yeah.
like, like we know we can sometimes predict them, and we can we know why they happen, but we don't know like when or where they're going to happen often.
And it's
Um,
and it's all just a man's need to have control, or at least some
exactly.
sense of
Yeah.
control. It's like, let's pick all right, I'm gonna go back in time to Hurricane Katrina,
Mhm.
early 2000s. Hurricane went into New Orleans and just devastated the city for years, and some shit never got fixed. Uh, I heard. I've never been there, but I mean, I remember people talking about, well, we should have built the levees higher. We should have did this. We should have did that,
Hindsight's
over and
always
over again.
2020.
Yeah, and it's easier, Chris, just
Mhm.
to make yourself think that these travesties could have been avoided, and sometimes they're unavoidable. Like, how
Yeah.
was he supposed to know that they were going to open an ender portal in Castle Drawers and release all kinds of
Yeah.
hell? No.
Yeah. He was just him and Thomas were just bystanders in proximity to this event. Like
Yeah.
they had no way of knowing. It's the same reason, like, again, like just of like various disasters, and that's exactly what this kind of, if you changed the event, if you changed it from
Hmm.
being something supernatural to something like a sinkhole opening up in the mall,
Yeah.
and or like that kind of thing, like something natural that is very that's plausible,
Yeah.
um it might have the same kind of horror because like they are dealing with like survivor's guilt,
Yeah.
and like they're trying to process this horrific thing.
I mean, personally, I think he could have avoided all this if he just went over to the Cheesecake Factory that's connected to
I
the
mean,
damn mall.
is it really?
Yeah. Like, look, like, and
No, I've
maybe this
never
is
been to a Cheesecake Factory. Just saying.
well, goddamn, we've got your whole itinerary just like
Yeah,
mapped out.
yeah,
Hop
we'll
in,
go to yeah, we'll just go to the Castle Jewelers. It's like, oh yes.
come back in America, let them take your blood, look at your taint, whatever. Like, they'll let you through the border eventually.
Yeah, dearie me. Um, so do you have anything more about the story before we go into the next segment I have, which is how to make this gameable, game fodder?
I, I mean, I hate to sound like a fanboy on this but I mean, it was really good.
Yeah,
And I was the one who told you about it and forgot about it, as we mentioned here. But I enjoyed it. And I was listening to it in the car. I had just to date this a little bit.
that'd be so
It's
good.
December. It's flu and season like that. And I was brushing up on this with my 10-year-old car, take a 10-year-old car, taking my 7-year-old girl. No, I've taken my daughter to the doctor. She turned out she has strep throat. And while driving up there, I started listening to it up and back and all that. And my 10-year-old was even getting into it. Now, some of it went a little bit over her head and all that, and I had to kind of pause and all that. I also had to immediately tell her in the beginning that this did not really happen.
Yeah, mall's fine.
You could go back to the pretzel shop anytime. It's
Yeah, that pathetic pretzel booth in the middle of the
yeah,
mall.
next to that shitty cell phone kiosk.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
it's good. I've only really encountered two of these man's projects, and I'm happy that I have his podcast now, and I have his YouTube channel. So
Yeah.
I look forward to delving more into it, and then asking you to, hey, can we return to this unless we get a cease and desist,
Yeah.
and talk about more Kentucky Weird.
Yeah, because again, like both of these have been really like both of these stories so far that we've covered have been really fun.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just kind of parroting you. Like this story is great. Like I love it. I'm sure there are other co-hosts that are not on the show right now, but like that might be a little bit more critical of it, based off their tastes. But I don't know. For us, like this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So, how would you make it gameable, and why are you wanting to play it in liminal space?
I mean, liminal horror.
Liminal horror, yeah.
Yeah. So obvious. So my go-to, like after reading this story, was obviously like Delta Green, and maybe even like the Esoterrorist. Just like players are agents being called in to clean up the aftermath, and perhaps one of the entities remained after the events. Like after the incident came to an end, and like the implosion happened. Maybe it's stalking around the greater Lexington area, or like the Lexington burbs, looking for a way back or just causing collateral in its wake. So it's like the opening setup to E.T., the extraterrestrial. You're welcome.
Thank you.
But like where an alien gets left behind and the government's after them, but more spooky.
Yeah.
Especially since it is alluded to farther, that there is like a farther reaching activity beyond the mall. What with the horse ranches and stuff of that in around Lexington. So, and then if you don't want to have it like be like the authorities or like an aftermath kind of scenario, or like throw your players right into the event itself, in either a Fear Itself game or a liminal horror game where like you can play as just regular people. Just like regular folks visiting the mall, or just like your standard mall rats sort of archetype. Who are just at the mall, like enjoying the vaporwave and mallcore aesthetic, and then drop this event on them, and have it be a good old fashioned survival horror game scenario where like they have to try and survive this thing until it ends, and see how the players react to the events themselves. And it doesn't even have to be a mall. Like it could be like the story ends with, it could be anywhere. It could happen in a college campus, a retail superstore like Walmart. Something actually I didn't bring up, but it's in my notes. When like the power and stuff that was going out, like with that whole incident, and like how they were reacting to like the power outages and like the darkness and like the weird event before like the hostilities happened. It reminded me of like it felt very grounded to me and very familiar because I had experienced a similar like situation in terms of like a blackout or a power outage when I was working at a Walmart like decades ago. And like a big storm came in and knocked out the power, and so suddenly everybody was like, there was like a momentary of panic before people started like pulling out their phones and like using them for light sources and like trying to guide customers in. And like us employees and some of the customers were even like kind of half joking about like, oh, like maybe this is like some kind of attack or something like that. Like we were all being like kind of we're using jokes to cover like some like our nervousness of the situation. And that's a very human thing to do, I feel. So like that reaction to the inciting incident when it happens in the story, I felt was very much like how humans react. It was very grounded in that regard. And yeah, you could have that in a, I think that would be really interesting for you to have that in a scenario. Like you could have it as like some kind of event like this happens at like a college campus or like a convention center, have it at Gen Con. That would go really well, I'm sure. But yeah, as the ending kind of implies, there's no it's left up in the air what the catalyst was. So this could happen anywhere and any time. So it sort of opens it up for a game scenario to have, like, if you want to play as like, if you want to have your players be just like regular people experiencing this irregular supernatural event firsthand and seeing how they would react to the situation. Yeah, just toss it into like a game system that merits you just playing regular people and caught up in a horror thing like Liminal Horror or Fear Itself, Call of Cthulhu. So
I'm going to take a slightly different approach. And by the way, why didn't you mention to me that you were in a Walmart that Harry Dresden and Murphy were fighting something?
Yeah,
they
were fighting the yeah. Well, I even worked for a good portion in the seasonal department. So yeah. I was just like stocking the shelves as Harry and
Murphy.
Harry and Murphy were dealing with the Chlorofiend.
Did you gas up the chainsaw and like, here you go, Murph?
Yeah, no, I just I opened the gun display for them. It was there. Yeah.
You're a hero.
I mean, yeah.
Now that by the way, I can't remember what it is, but there's tons of like supplemental stuff for Liminal Horror. There is a scenario set in a mall.
Yes, there is. I can't remember myself, but
I'm going to take a different approach on the game stuff just to be different. It just kind of popped in my head right now.
Sure.
I would use what is the Colonial Americas Zweihander called offhand?
Oh,
Flames of Freedom.
Yeah.
I would use Zweihander's Flames of Freedom and set this on Roanoke.
Yeah, that could definitely work. Yeah. Like it doesn't have to be in the modern day necessarily.
Yeah, this is historical. I think that would be a nice thing. And I mean, if you take those kind of, you can take it from the modern and port it into the past, and then you're not going to need the quarantined, the Fayette County police surrounding the mall, keeping everybody in or out and stuff like that. Like you just have isolation, which is one of the big things of fear.
Also another thing that you could do if you want, like, so modern day, we have the past idea with your Flames of Freedom. You could easily do this in something like Mothership, like survival, like the sci-fi horror RPG, where, because you're just playing, again, you're not playing like hulked out, like luckier than lucky space adventures or heroes. You're playing just regular like employees of a megacorp or like of a hypercorp or something, and your character is as easily killable as a as a regular person, I guess. Like it's just, and then just have it happen in like instead of having it at a mall in the modern day or a colon like a pioneer colony, have it be on on an old space station that's like on the edge of space, like or like, and then like this thing just happens and it's just like it's a some kind of an anomaly or some kind of an alien incursion that just starts like attacking your space station, and you're having to deal with it.
Did the Vikings leave the Americas?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What happened in Vinland? I mean, by that merit, we could also do Vossen because Vossen's very lethal. And just have it in 19. What happened in that small settlement or that small marketplace in Uppsala? Like, why did the town guard have to like cordon off that district in Uppsala?
Actually, I think that's the best one we came up with.
Is Vossen.
Yeah.
Oh, also, if you want to keep like the whole mall vibe and stuff of that, this could also be used with Tales from the Loop, because it's already dealing with something that's like clearly some kind of dimensional opening or dimensional like incursion. So yeah, you could use like Tales from the Loop or Things from the Flood to get that like 80s or 90s mall aesthetic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely I'll write up a Vossen scenario. Oh God, I wonder. I'll have to check to see if Christmas markets were a thing in the 19th century.
They can be.
Yeah, because like that would be a fun a fun like seasonal kind of adventure of like mixing this creature, this entity, and you guys just like you're not even investigating this thing. You're just at the Christmas market in somewhere in like Uppsala. I'm just using that because that's the core location in Vossen. And this thing just occurs, and then because you're one of the special like Thursday children, you have to deal with this thing, or you have like a chance of possibly dealing with this thing. So
there we go.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
Look forward to it. But other than that, I think that's about all I had. I think you hit the good ones there with Fear Itself and Liminal Horror and Delta Green, Call of Cthulhu by proxy, like any of those horror systems.
Yeah, honestly, I do want to dive into Liminal Horror more, like the RPG, as much as the genre, but the RPG Liminal Horror I do want to dive into because it seems like it would work really well for like, again, just playing regular people, dealing with this kind of horror. So, but I mean, that's all I have right now. So
I think that's all I've got. It's not for lack of this being a horrible story that we can't pull stuff from. It was just, it was very nicely packaged. Everything was great, and I think it's got a lot of fodder and leaves a lot for the It provides a lot of fodder, and it there's elements that are left up to the interpretation of the reader, and I like that.
Yeah. Jumping into final thoughts here, I would absolutely recommend this. Very cool and creepy concept, very familiar and grounded setting, and the narration is spot on. Like, it is dismal. It is the guy is very like kind of very serious and like somber in his telling of this tale, which is exactly what you want from this kind of Lovecraftian cosmic horror story. I do wish it was somewhere I could read it myself. Perhaps that is just because I haven't gone to the Patreon, and it's behind that. But otherwise, it's definitely worth the 35-minute cosmic horror listen. on their YouTube channel and on their podcast. So
I couldn't even say I have recommended this to people by you, and it's great.
yeah, you literally the reason why we're covering this on the episode is because you literally recommended it to somebody.
And then I offered to do this.
Yep.
Narration was great. He doesn't sound like me, so I don't know if he's really.
I did notice that. Like he, I mean, not that every Kentuckian has to have the accent, but like,
Yeah.
It is interesting because, like, again, this is like the second story that we've read of his, or that we've listened to of his. That's from your area, your neck of the woods.
Which the accent does taper off the more you get toward Lexington too. So it's not unheard of. But well, while you would recommend this to somebody, I have recommended this. I recommended this to you and totally forgot that I did. And then I volunteered to do this and forgot that I did. But it's great.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I look forward to perusing more of Stygian Saga's work. I just want to see what else is tied in around here. I was expecting a name drop like Red River Gorge or something like that too.
I'm waiting for a new Slade Kentucky story.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, we could also not let our dreams be dreams and just write those stories ourselves. But
very true, very true.
What happens when the Slade reptile zoo brings in a creature that man weren't meant to interact with, and it escapes. Also, from based off of one of the books I have from like cryptids and stuff of that in your neck of Kentucky. There is a mention that like 1 to 2 people go missing in the Red River Gorge every freaking year.
Stupid though. I can guarantee that. I mean, there's places you walk there and you're like,
yeah. Like whether, when you went up to the Land Bridge and like that, some of the sudden drops were kind of, yeah. Like we could also write a story sometime about the mustard man trumpeter, the mustard trumpeter. God, that was I thought like we were about to walk into a search and rescue woods scenario when we started hearing trumpeting in the woods going up to Land Bridge.
You start hearing White Stripes, Seven Nation Army.
Yeah. Oh my God. But that aside, yeah, no, I think I'm gonna look. I'm gonna keep tabs on Stygian Saga's Reddit threads, because I think I think they've posted and written some stuff over more on there. Like we got like the fog that fell over Moorhead was a Reddit story that we covered. So I think there's some more that he's done that are actually like a written format and also as well as audio. So yeah.
Well, keep up the good work, Stygian.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a fan of the dour Lovecraftian tones. So with a familiar touch of Eastern Kentucky. So
yeah, same here.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess that'll do it for tonight. Two glowing recommendations for this story.
Mm-hmm.
If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below, wherever this gets posted. Some of us are on Blue Sky. Adam on RPX is at RPEXCHANGE, RP Exchange. And I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCPs, spooky things. You creep it, we'll peep it. Yeah! And if you'd like to help support our show financially, you can go to Patreon. We have special episodes, early access, and extra content. To all our patrons helping support the show, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you immensely, because without your listenership, it'd be like screaming into the void of a strange Stygian darkness consuming a mall.
Jewelry store.
Yeah, jewelry store. Yeah, and without your stories, these things that you write and post online for people to enjoy, we really wouldn't have much of a show because we'd have nothing to talk about. Adam, do you have a patron?
If you would like to just give me money for any particular reason, I would appreciate it. Go to patreon.com/roleplayingexchange. And it actually, any money that you give to either the Review Cultist web Patreon or the Role Playing Exchange, it pretty much all goes into our podcast network. What's that podcast network again, Chris?
I'm glad you asked. Crit in the Night, an actual play and creepypasta podcast network. We're there alongside our sister podcast, One Less Die, and RPX, our cousin podcast, the Role Playing Exchange. For things that go crit in the night.
And if you'd like to gaze into the abyss, I'm also on Twitter, even though, to be frank with you folks, I don't really update my socials that much lately just because it's the state of the world. I don't want to look at it when I log into the socials, but we're also on Twitter, or X, at RP Exchange. And yeah, so thank you so much, Review Cultist. Thank you for having me on. I've enjoyed sharing this little bit of Kentucky with you, and thank you, Stygian Sagas, for giving me something to talk about the great Bluegrass State.
Indeed. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
And I've been Adam.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.
We'll see y'all later.